If there is a God side and the other side, if there are moral things and things that are immoral, if there is this side or that side, it can't be left up to thought process. I'm an enforcer on this side.
Rico Grant did not just throw a light jab into the gossip wind. He stepped onto the stage, leaned close to the mic, and sent shockwaves across the room with his sharp delivery. He hinted that Serena Vale, the former First Lady figure, had been stepping out not with another man, but with women. It was the kind of line that froze the audience for a second, unsure if they heard. Right then, the room broke half in laughter, half in disbelief. People know Rico's style. When he says something like this, it is not random. This is a man who built his career on pulling secrets out of thin air and dropping them like thunder. And this time, his words did not just rattle the air. They chipped at the polished image of a celebrated political marriage.
I'm one of the chosen high-ranked, know the dirt individuals, right? And so dirt responds as they should when the vacuum walks in.
Nah, come on. Are you a rapper? You rapper?
He has always carried a reputation for going where others will not, digging up whispers from Hollywood and Washington and placing them directly into the public ear. Remember, this is the same Rico Grant who has warned for years that big names with perfect reputations often live private lives they fear will come to light. So when he leaned into this claim about Serena's alleged romantic ties to women, it did not feel like a throwaway punchline. It felt like the opening note of a song waiting. To take over the airwaves, the heavy question between every word was clear: if Rico knows something, how long until the rest of us do?
Going high is not losing the urgency or the passion or the rage, especially when you are justified in it. Going high means finding the purpose in your rage. You know, rage without reason, without a plan, without direction is just more rage.
For more than a decade, Serena Vale has been seen as an icon of grace, intelligence, and loyalty, the kind of public figure whose image felt untouchable. Speeches about family, flawless appearances, unwavering support for her husband. It was the brand she carefully built, but if there is truth in Rico's hint, the polished portrait may cover a much messier reality. Could the woman who once spoke of her marriage as true partnership have been living a double life? And if that is so, how long has Marcus known, and what has he chosen to look past Rico's cryptic tone gave no names, no timeline, just enough to leave a story too heavy to ignore whispers, then began circling back to one location. A private retreat in California, not a public venue, not a place one would stumble upon, but a secluded spot, far from cameras and obligations, sources say. Serena was seen there more than once, always under the radar, never in a way linked to her official work or charity. The mystery deepens when you ask who. She was meeting women whose identities stay shielded, the kind of friends unseen on social feeds or red carpets. If the rumors are true, this is not a casual escape. It is a second chapter being written in secret.
When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
It is impossible not to hear echoes of another infamous moment, when comedian Joan Rivers once declared on a sidewalk that Marcus was homosexual and Serena was transgender, following it with the casual phrase we all know at the time many brushed it off as Joan being Joan, provoking a laugh. But weeks later, her sudden passing under unusual medical conditions fueled endless theories in corners of the internet. The dots were connected so often they built a mythology of their own. And now, with Rico stirring things again, those old theories are being pulled straight back into the spotlight.
And Sharp says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharp on Sunday, accusing him of raping her twice.
This story is not only about rumored romance, it is also about timing. Serena's absence from major events has been noticed. She skipped a former president's funeral. She skipped an inauguration alongside her husband, each absence explained away as scheduling conflict or dislike. for political theater, but in a gossip climate already primed for speculation, every empty seat becomes a question mark. Commentators have even claimed they were told by serious journalists that Marcus and Serena may not just be struggling, they could already be living apart. It is the sort of claim that even without proof, snowballs in public imagination, then the Hollywood angle appears for months. Tabloids have suggested Marcus being linked to actress Jenna Ashford, a star whose love life has long been media fodder. Both camps denied it. Jenna even laughed in an interview, saying she barely met him once and knew Serena better. But whether true or not, the rumor gained traction while Rico hinted about Serena's personal life makes the story feel like a slow-motion crash, one rumor colliding with another until the wreck is impossible to ignore.
Truth about Jen and Barack is that there is no truth.
There is
it
no
is
truth.
untrue. You know Barack Obama.
I've met him once.
Met him once.
I know Michelle more than him.
What is there a truth about you and Michelle? That we see. No.
That is not.
The retreat in California will not leave the story. Either one insider calls it a property where privacy is absolute, with enough distance from neighbors that visitors can move freely without drawing eyes if Serena is indeed spending time there. With companions, it could explain why those closest to the couple keep their words guarded. Marcus recently posted a birthday message to Serena, a photo of the two holding hands at dinner captioned, "Simply love you," meant to show unity yet to many. It looked staged, the lighting, the stiff composition. The formal words all picked apart online as if coded rather than casual. We have seen this before in political marriages. Image is currency, and both sides protect it as long as possible, no matter what is happening behind doors. Which is why Rico's timing matters. He did not drop this claim on a random day. He did it in a year full of collapsing reputations, a year he predicted would expose the big names. And if history is a guide, his words have a way of finding validation. Later, that is why people lean in waiting for the next piece to fall.
Reports that video will not be released. Attorney Tony Busby came out and said that they are not planning to release that video, how they were dropping audio, because it's a very strong point of their evidence in this case, and they're going to keep it and use it as such. Yeah. Now, that is interesting because Shannon Sharp, remember, he kept saying he believes the video was going to come out. He believes the video was going to come out. So there's been a change.
When you line up Rico's provocative hint with the rising speculation, the absences, the supposed hideaway, the old Joan Rivers theory, the Hollywood distractions, you get a picture far from stable, yet no one in the Vail household dares address it. Silence itself becomes the loudest choice in scandals, and the silence only makes the questions grow. What is truly happening inside one of the nation's most famous marriages, and how much are we about to discover?
Tony Busby says this is key evidence in our case against Mr. Sharp, so it will not be coming out. He will not be leaking this.
And saying basically it's going to come out during the trial.
Right.
If there's a trial.
If there's a trial, it will come out, which to me sounds like he's still dangling it over Shannon's head to say, we can meet, we can settle this, or we can go forward into a trial, and then the video is going to.
Joan Rivers had ruled the spotlight for decades, fearless with a microphone and quick to torch anyone in her path. But in July 2014, she made a sidewalk remark that carried a strange, heavy weight, the kind that does not fade away, asked if the country would ever see its first gay president or its first female president. She did not pause. She said, "We already have it with Marcus. You know, Serena is a..." She then laughed, walked away, and looked unfazed by the shock on the reporter's face. Just weeks later, she went in for what was meant to be a simple throat procedure. Something went wrong. Her vitals collapsed and she never truly recovered, official reports blamed. A chain of medical missteps. But in the rumor circuit, those comments and the timing of her passing fused together into something darker. Was it coincidence, or was Joan's last punchline the kind of truth some people did not want, recorded the theory? Never disappeared. It lingered in shadows, resurfacing whenever Marcus and Serena found themselves back in the gossip stream. And now with Rico Grant stirring similar waters, the parallels are too sharp to ignore. Joan called out the most untouchable pair in politics and was gone within a month. Rico is doing the same in an era where social media magnifies every word, and with Serena already facing whispers about a California retreat, the shadow of Joan's fate hangs like a warning.
Not to add insult to injury, but there's a Daily Mail report out today saying Kamala Harris's marriage may be on the rocks. Like everybody's on the rocks. Again, I will say I love the Daily Mail, but the sourcing appeared weak. It was like people who know the couple, but like, I don't know if it's any better than that, but they're saying she's blaming him in part for her loss because he turned out to be such a hot mess liability. You buy it?
If Serena's name has been spinning through gossip columns, Marcus has not been far behind his image as the faithful husband has been tested by a different thread. Hollywood proximity in the past year. Actress Jenna Ashford's name has appeared linked with him more than once after a tabloid cover framed her as a wedge in the Vail marriage on camera. She dismissed it outright, saying she met him only once, but the very fact a magazine splashed it on the front page shows how far the speculation spread in the celebrity politics. Crossover game timing and proximity alone can plant a seed.
The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack. At first, it seemed ridiculous, but the rumors have remained steady among...
What makes it more compelling is how the Ashford rumor collided with the ongoing narrative of Serena's separate life. If one half of the pair is said to be seeking connection outside marriage, and the other half rumored to be doing the same, even. In different circles, the question changes from, is it true, to how long has this been happening and what holds them together in politics? A marriage can be as much a strategic alliance as a romantic commitment. If that alliance shifted from love to transaction, the public may be the last to know life. In their spotlight is not just bright, it is blinding. Every glance, every gesture dissected by millions over time. Such scrutiny hollows out the rhythm of marriage, turning intimacy into performance. Even private moments risk becoming rehearsed, curated for the chance of a camera. What starts as shared purpose can slowly become a joint brand, carefully managed until the business of being Marcus and Serena outweighs the reality of being husband and wife.
Not sorry.
They are looking forward. All the women in your life are
all
looking
the women
forward.
in my life are looking forward to being able to, live a more normal life.
Yeah, but still not entirely normal. Obviously, everybody's under the microscope at all times.
A little bit more.
And you're staying in Washington, D.C., which is unusual for an exiting president.
We often romanticize power couples, imagining them immune to the strains that break ordinary relationships. But the stakes at the top are heavier. The need to protect the perfect image means arguments are not just arguments. They are headlines, disagreements over careers, lifestyle, or time apart, become battles fought under the threat of exposure for two people with strong, independent identities. The compromises needed to maintain their shared story can erode the space they once found comfort in. By the time such a bond drifts, repairing it in private is nearly impossible. The house is never empty. Advisors and friends hover each with their own loyalties where others might use solitude to mend the veils. Lived in a world where solitude is a rare luxury. If they truly have built separate lives, it may be less about betrayal and more about survival, creating distance to preserve civility in public. The tragedy lies in the thought they became captives of the image they built. The love story that once carried them into millions of hearts may have grown too heavy when it became everyone's property. If the spotlight demanded they remain symbols of unity, any break in that script could feel like betrayal, not only to each other, but to the public that believed in them. In that sense, the strain was not only marital, it was existential, tied to the roles they played on a world stage. Were they victims of their own success, trapped in a narrative woven so tightly it left no room for truth? It is a haunting question, especially as many leaders and entertainers have faced quiet unraveling behind polished smiles for Marcus and Serena. The weight of legacy may have cost them the freedom to live authentically, leaving them lost between public perfection and private reality.
Look, they all have They're smartphones and they're texting with their friends. They're doing all the stuff that teenagers are doing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Michelle and I try to emphasize to them that they don't want to be on TMZ.
Yeah, right.
And then comes the unspoken rule: control the optics at all costs, that explains the carefully staged photos, the warm but restrained captions, the birthday messages that read more like press releases than affection. Every handhold, every dinner table. Pose becomes part of the script. The more curated the moments, the more we wonder what lies off camera. Serena's absence from key events, whether explained as fatigue or scheduling, only fuels the gap between image and whispers for close watchers. The overlap of Rico Grant's bold hint, the recycled. Joan Rivers' theory and the Hollywood angle feels like more than noise together. They paint a picture of a marriage under pressures we are not meant to see, pressures from public life, from private choices, from the relentless attention that lingers. Long after the White House years, the tension between what is shown and what is speculated keeps this story alive, long after most political gossip fades.
For Aniston, it was her circle of friends there allegedly discussing this. I mean, we don't know. We don't know, but
that's how you know it's true.
Is it so hard to believe?
Like, when a woman tells another woman, yeah, you can tell me, I'll keep a secret, the phone's already out. It's about to hit a group chat. So that is, to me, the most conclusive.
If history teaches anything, it is that power couples do not collapse without signals. There are always signs that only make sense in hindsight. Are we seeing those signs now with the veils, or are we projecting cracks onto a surface we were told was flawless? Rico Grant may believe he is telling truths the rest of us are not ready for, and if his track record holds, the next months may bring more than jokes. They may bring revelations that force even loyal supporters to rethink what they thought they knew. So the question that lingers after the lights dim is this: if even the veils, the image of unity, success, and love, are caught in storms of scandal, what does that say about the truth behind power? And if Rico is right, what else is waiting? Just beyond the edge of the spotlight,